Welcome to the Building One Story at a Time podcast.
We're your hosts. I'm Katie Herbine.
And I'm Stephanie LaChance.
Today, we are taking you on a journey about your kitchen sinks. Probably going to be a little mini episode, probably short, but we'll see. Maybe we'll really get into it.
We have to admit, though, it's something that some buyers struggle with. Which kitchen sink is right for me?
Mm-hmm. So you usually spend a lot of time this is your typical role, like going through the kitchen functionality stuff. So what's the general hang up? What do people struggle with? Like, why is it such a hard decision to make?
So I'd say that the population is split. I don't know exactly the numbers on the split. Maybe like 60-40, 70-30. The larger majority already knows what they want because that's what they have now. And this is in relation to the layout of the sink. So whether or not it is a single bowl, it is a 50-50 equal split bowl sink, or maybe a 60-40 split bowl sink. And then the smaller population, maybe they don't have what they really want now, or this might be like their first home, so they can't really envision like how they're going to be using this new home as much as they maybe use like their apartment space now.
Mm-hmm. I bet it's also a struggle too to like decide between apron front or the new workstation sink too. So we'll kind of get into those a little bit as well. But generally, what we're going to ask you when you're maybe really struggling and we're trying to guide you is the way that you like to hand wash dishes. Are you typically drawing a water bath to rinse those dishes off, or are you kind of rinsing them really quickly underneath your faucet, maybe giving them a scrub, putting them in the dishwasher, or rubbing them under the faucet, giving them a wash, rinsing them, and then putting them to dry, not doing a water bath or anything So if you like to do a water bath, we recommend doing some type of split bowl so that you do have that water that's always clean. You can rinse the dishes off in the other side of the sink and then dunk them in the clean water and put them off to dry. If you don't like to draw a water bath, we would probably recommend to go with a single bowl sink because it's going to give you the most room to kind of like run those dishes back and forth underneath the faucet.
Yeah. So for example, what I do at home, I have a big single bowl sink. And most dishes are going in the dishwasher, let's be honest, right? But for some of those things that you can't put in the dishwasher, like I use my Vitamix blender every day. So I'll just fill that up with water and then quick rinse it out with more water and use like my Scrub Daddy. I also have the Scrub Daddy, it's the Scrub Daddy, but it's like on a handle. It has a special name. It's not just a Scrub Daddy. Then there's also the Scrub Mommies. So they've really got the market on
not sponsored
scrubber brushes. Yeah, but hey, Scrub Daddy, please call us if you'd like to. So anyways, and then the things that like maybe need a soak, I'll just kind of like leave room for them in the bottom of the sink and let the soap do its work there. Mm-hmm. Another thing that we've heard from people about a split bowl sink is sometimes they like to use the inactive bowl as a dish dryer. Not my personal preference, because I like a big sink. I like having a lot of room to move around in there, move stuff around and fill it up with stuff, especially as I'm cooking. But something to keep in mind. The workstation sink is great. Let's talk a little bit about that and like some of the functionality features that provides.
So the workstation sink was like my little baby. I wanted it so bad because I'm the kind of person who comes from a house where you don't have a lot of counter space, and the counter space is like gold, whatever you can find. So finding a sink option that would allow you to kind of extend the countertop space to use the sink as part of that countertop. There's the workstation sink that we're currently offering has like a little lip around the inner edge, so you can put a cutting board in and actually chop right into the sink, brush the dirt off, put it down the garbage disposal, or if your pull-out trash can is right there, you could brush it right into the trash. But then it's also going to have like a drying rack included in it, so you can once you do hand wash the dishes, put the plates and stuff like right into something that's going to let them drip dry right into the sink. So that's kind of a really nice feature. And there's a couple of other accessories that come with that sink, that workstation sink. It's going to be a stainless steel undermount sink, but you'll have like a grate in the bottom. And then again, a couple of attachments and accessories that go along with it to improve the functionality of that workstation sink and really make it a true workstation.
Yes. Yeah. And that's a great tool if you're wanting something to get you started. And it's honestly, it's not a huge investment to
No.
get the workstation sink that we offer. Now there are a lot of like aftermarket things you can find on Amazon, but nothing that's going to be built specifically for your sink model like these specific attachments will be.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah. So this is like everything is fit to hang specifically on that little ledge inside of the sink. Whereas those aftermarket things are usually going to take up some counter space. They'll be counter to counter rather than like inside lip to inside lip.
Let's talk about why a apron front sink is number one so popular, number two so desirable.
Well, I mean, most obvious there is the beautiful look that it has, especially the porcelain apron front sink. The one that looks more like a farmhouse sink is like just a real showstopper. But if you have a more industrial style, we also offer the stainless steel apron front sink. And I think apron front sinks are really nice if you are kind of doing a lot of hand washing because it's a little bit lower, so it's easier to more like lean over. At least I feel like that. I'm shorter, so so maybe it's more easy for me, but would be more difficult for a taller person. But what can you add as a taller person?
Oh, yeah. I think just the overall like inside dimensions of that sink are larger. So from not only from a form standpoint, but from a functionality standpoint, again, it is larger. So you'll be able to fit more dirty dishes in there at the same time. Not that we are a fan for keeping all your dirty dishes there, but
Hey,
sometimes
it happens.
you got to cook, right? We can't be cleaning the whole time. A few things I want to talk through that as you're thinking through the type of countertop you might want, the type of sink that is available to you may also play into that. So laminate countertops, we would use a drop-in sink installation. So what that means is there's going to be like a little bit of a stainless steel lip around the sink that sits on the countertop. And we can show you example photos of this too during your visits. The only included sink for laminate would be a split bowl 50-50. On all of our split bowl sinks, 50-50 or 60-40, the garbage disposal is going to be in the side closest to the dishwasher. And that is because of how that garbage disposal gets tied to the drain for the dishwasher. So just something to think about as you consider which sink style you prefer. When you move to granite or quartz countertops, then we offer a undermount sink installation. So underneath your about 1 inch thick granite or quartz, then the sink gets kind of mounted to the bottom of that. So it's a little bit more of a seamless transition than having that lip on the drop-in sink. And then you have a choice of 3 undermount styles, the single bowl, the 50-50 equal bowls, or the 60-40. With the 60-40, again, the 40, that will be your garbage disposal side, and that will be closest to the dishwasher. And that dishwasher placement is dependent on usually the garage orientation. So whether or not your garage is on the right or the left, your kitchen might be flipped from like the kitchen layout that you're seeing on our standard marketing prints online.
Yes, and I wanted to also add some of these really cool sinks that we're talking about, like my lovely little workstation sink and those farmhouse sinks. They are only available in an undermount installation. So that would kind of limit you. So if you're thinking, I want laminate countertops, maybe this would be that push to get you to go and commit to granite because it's going to give you that farmhouse sink that you've been dreaming about. Whereas we cannot do that with laminate because of the way it's installed and the material itself.
A couple other notes about maybe thinking about retrofitting that farmhouse sink in the future, because we do have a lot of people that say that they're going to do it later, which totally fine. We understand if maybe you don't want to do it up front, but you do want to have it later on down the road. Just keep in mind that there is a high likelihood that you're going to need to cut into the cabinet below just a bit and potentially need almost an entirely new cabinet or at least new cabinet doors. That is not an easy item to retrofit in the later. So just something to think about as you're making your choices.
Steph, are you segueing into another episode of what to do now, what to do later? Because that's coming.
Yes, yeah. That would be a great topic of conversation. Two more sink-related items I want to mention are we are now offering a soap dispenser option.
Ooh.
That is available at your kitchen sink. Reasons we love this. Number one, especially when your sink is in the island, that's kind of like the focal point of your kitchen for a lot of those layouts, like the Ardmore or the Summer Grove or the Glen Mary. No one wants to see their soap dispenser, the bottle of Dawn or the bottle of power wash on the countertop all the time. So having that built-in dispenser that's going to coordinate to your faucet, that's a great thing to consider.
Yeah, I really like that idea, as well as the tilt tray at the kitchen sink. So you can put the sponges, scrubbers in something that's concealed specifically for your sponges and accessories. So we like that idea as well. You can unfortunately do the tilt tray in combination with an apron front sink though.
Yep. Yeah. But that sink is big enough that you can get a little sink caddy for the inside of that.
It's like 36 inches wide. It's as big as the cabinet. It's the widest sink we offer. So if you really like a big sink, that's one for you.
Another note about when your sink is in the island. So again, the Glen Mary, the Ardmore, the Summer Grove, the Lawrenceville, just to name a couple off the top of my head. There are more. The garbage disposal will be switched underneath of the cabinet. So normally when your sink is along a wall, your garbage disposal will be switched on the wall next to the sink, where the light for the recessed light, where the switch for the recessed light above the sink is also located. Your garbage disposal will be switched there. However, when your sink is in the island, obviously there's no wall, so that would be located underneath of the sink. So an option you can elect is an air switch, which again would coordinate to your selected faucet for that sink. And that's just like a button that would control on off for the garbage disposal. So although we don't see a lot of people with young children electing this option just because they feel like it may be a hazard to have the garbage disposal switch so accessible to maybe little fingers at the kitchen island. But that is something that's available and something to consider.
I wanted to add something else about having the this is like a little insider trick. So Steph mentioned that your garbage disposal is always installed on the same side as your dishwasher. So the switch that controls the garbage disposal is always on the dishwasher side. So if you're looking at your kitchen sink and there's 3 switches there and you're like, oh no, I'm going to have to turn on 3 and maybe the garbage disposal is going to come on, but I want to turn on the light above my sink. Well, if it's the switch above the dishwasher, then it's for the garbage disposal. So try the other one first or get a label maker.
I need to remember that because so often I go in our model homes and I go to turn that light on and I'm like, nope, garbage disposal.
I know. I do it all the time too. That's why I'm like, I'm telling you and myself. All right. Well, we managed to talk for about 15 minutes about kitchen sinks.
Wow, we thought this would be 5 minutes. Everything and the kitchen sink, folks.
What's that kitchen sink cookie where they have like all the different stuff in it? I thought you told me about that cookie.
A cookie?
A kitchen sink cookie. It has like all the different things in it.
Yes. Yeah. I think we ordered those for an event one time at Landis Farm. Oh, that's a flashback. Wow.
All right. Happy Wednesday.
Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Bye.